I'm going to connect this to what's happened in Washington today, and obviously there's been an awful lot of dysfunction, which some would argue would be business as usual in Washington over the past 72 hours. Donald Trump didn't really get what he wanted. Elon Musk weighed in. He's now become the man of the hour. Governing in 2025 for Republicans is going to be messy. They've only got a couple-seat majority in the House. You've offered a lot of hope in terms of foreign policy for 2025 because of what's going on in the Middle East. Does what you see today and how sort of Washington's wrapped up 2024 give you more hope or more pause?
Well, at least they got finished. I mean, I think what's happened in the past 2 or 3 days really is a self-inflicted wound by Trump and co-president Elon Musk. This budget process that ends in big CRs at the end of a session, totally unacceptable. Congress has got to get back to doing its job of setting budgets. But at some point, you've got to make a responsible decision. This is not the moment 2 or 3 days before Christmas to have a big fight over it. And Trump instigated the fight, and he got beaten. I mean, people have already said this is his first legislative defeat of his presidency, and he's not even president yet. But I think it's important to get past it, give Trump a clean shot, let's see what they can do. But also interesting is the dynamic that was demonstrated here, where on Thursday night, 38 Republicans voted against a bill that Trump had said they should vote for. 38 of them. Okay, they lost. But, and these are the hardcore Trump supporters, theoretically, who stood up and voted against him. Is it the case that House of Representatives members defy the president, but senators in the world's greatest deliberative body are too afraid to vote against some of his nominees for senior executive branch positions? I think this vote on the continuing resolution could really tell a lot about what may happen in Congress generally once we get past the first of the year.
You've watched Donald Trump up close and personal. You've worked for him. He doesn't necessarily have the kindest things to say about you. I think everybody knows that. But what do you make of the Trump-Musk relationship, and more importantly, that Democrats now seem to be much more interested in fighting against Elon Musk than they do Donald Trump?
Yeah, I think they see this multi-billionaire as a very inviting target. I've been looking for some kind of historical comparison to Musk. I don't think there really is one. Closest I could come would be in Trump's first term, Jared Kushner, also quite wealthy, not as public as Elon Musk, but somebody who knows everything and shared his opinion with Trump without hesitation. What's going to be interesting is what happens now if, as appears, Musk went off on his own to say a couple days ago he was against the continuing resolution that Speaker Johnson and others had negotiated, and Trump came after Musk had stirred up the trouble. It reminds me of the story of the French general who looked out his balcony one day and saw his troops marching away and said, "My God, I have to leave to get in front of my troops," which is what Trump looked like following after Musk. I cannot believe Trump liked that kind of performance.
Yeah. And now we see, look, in the other sense of the word, could be a little bit of good cop, bad cop, at least as we watch it. Mr. Ambassador, Merry Christmas to you and yours. Thanks for being with us for a wonderful year. Much more to discuss next year.
Likewise, Merry Christmas, Leland. Happy New Year.
Yes, sir. To you as well. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.